Fantasmagorium is proud to present Ghouls, Ghosts, and Goblins. 36 years ago, the world was introduced to the ghost with the most. A brilliant director, hot off of a property of Pee-wee, and he gave us a vision of the afterlife. Now he revisits that afterlife in a sequel that doubles its name. We are here to celebrate Tim Burton's Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice. I am Scotty R37. Cat is here. We are Belafonte to have Tony, a phantom organist, and anti-derivative Jill with us this evening to discuss all of the Beetlejuiciness. Steve is, of course, keeping it real. How are you guys doing this evening?
Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The enthusiasm. Fine. You know what? That's why I come to the Fantasmagorium. The enthusiasm.
No, I'm doing great. No, my daughter is screaming, so I have to be right back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a scary show. Everyone here has seen the Beetlejuice, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm assuming, tell us about the first time you saw Beetlejuice, Cat.
It was
approximately a week
last
ago.
Thursday. I had to think for a second if it was Thursday or Friday. Yes, I went to the last Thursday's show at 3:00. I went with my friends. We had nice recliner seats in this theater we went to. It was really fun and it was really funny. It's a bit overstuffed, but it's kind of like the much funner and more entertaining version of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is another legacy sequel that's overstuffed to the brim with the stuff that it doesn't really need, kind of like this one. But this one manages to be really fun and stays fun all the way through, which is what I appreciated about it, and being funny.
Well, and you did actually get some paraphernalia, did you not?
I did. I forgot about that. Ask some other people while I get it.
All right, phantom organist, frantic organist. How did you see the Beetlejuice?
Yes, I did. I seen it on Saturday.
Now, did you have a theater experience, or were you sailing the high seas of watching it at home?
Watching it at home.
No, you're a criminal. You made Beetlejuice proud.
Yeah, sometimes you have to be.
Let's not dwell on it. But so, what did you think of the movie?
Amazing. I waited since the first one came out. I knew they had to do a second. I've been waiting all summer for this to come out.
And it lived up.
Absolutely.
Well, and also,
amazing.
I would like
It's an amazing movie.
I would like to say that you are this isn't just a clever handle. You are an organist.
Yes.
So I can assume.
I've played the Beetlejuice theme in the church on their organ.
Which is rad. That's incredible. So, well, and as a fan, it's great to hear that you enjoy it.
Danny Elfman's score is amazing.
Tony.
Hello.
How was your cinematic experience with, did you watch it on a phone on a bus?
I saw it in a room with other people.
Oh.
A large room in the dark with people I don't know.
Makes sense. That's how I saw it as well. Jill? How did you see this?
I also went to the theater and I brought my whole family. And it was a lot of fun. It was good. There was my daughter's only 5 years old, but she was only a little bit scared. And then, that was time to take her to the bathroom anyway. And so and then after that, she was perfectly fine for the rest of the movie. She even laughed at the end of the movie, the very last scene, because, well, hell, I laughed also. It was very good and it was fun. It it introduced new characters that you actually care about. A lot of times when you have a sequel, the new characters are crap. But in this case, they actually took the time to interweave them into the universe. And I don't know, it was just, just as zany as I wanted it to be.
Yeah. I do want to say hello to the chat. It's good to see DVB, my friend Trip, who says, I saw this movie at the theater for preview night on September 5th. Overall, I enjoyed it. Great.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my stars, Cinema Gulp. Hey, Ben, everybody, if you are here, don't forget to like and subscribe, do all the things, but also head over to Cinema Gulp and check out their videos, which are better than ours, and subscribe to them. And Cinema Gulp says, how many times can you say Beetlejuice? I thought that was an interesting choice in the original that they decided they spelled it with the galaxy. Is it the galaxy? Is
Oh, no, it's a star, and
it's
they
a
named
star.
it. Well, that's what the character's named after because of the definition of Beetlejuice is like a demon encroaching a star. So they thought that was an appropriate name.
Yes, it's in the constellation of Orion.
It is, yes.
Oh, yes. If my Ford prefect informs me, yes. RVM 371 says nope, LOL. And Finity is here. Hey, Finity, with a trophy. Never can say no to a snooch to the nooch. And Finity says, I like the original. Well, yeah, no, I think it's and totally, absolutely with Finity, mostly because Gina Davis was so hot. And I do want to get into talking about the original. Trip says, my only complaint is that I would have liked to see more of Monica Bellucci's character. Well,
agreed.
I guess. Well, it's always nice to see more Monica Bellucci, let's be honest.
Of course.
I just recently watched Shoot 'em Up, and I was like, that's a lot of Monica Bellucci.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU and Doctor Who, is here for the Jill. Jill, if you want to give him his comeuppance.
Maggie!
Thank you so much. And then Nevermind 371 says, nope, I haven't seen it, but I'm here anyway. Okay, so spoilers for everything.
It is a film, yes.
It is a film with a beginning, middle, and end. Things happen. Yes, you will be told. Ben says, amazing panels, some of my favorite people. And Mars Monkey Max.
There's a link in the Fantasmagorium chat if you want to jump on, Ben. There's still room.
And so, with a DJ Play Nice who says rock, I'm going to put a pin in the chat. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We look forward to having this conversation about Beetlejuice. I'll get back to you. It's currently, we're 10 minutes in. In approximately 10 minutes, I'm going to have a smoke break. And then Kat will address the chat. Or something will happen. We'll figure it out.
Well, I have since brought the items that you were asking me to go and fetch.
I would love to see this. I will make you big.
All right, so. It's okay. So first, we have the handbook for the recently deceased. It's like a metal tin, and let me see here. It opens, and you can put. I guess you could put whatever you want
in it.
Yes, you could absolutely put your weed in there. I didn't realize this is what this was because it was in like a zip tied, or complete sealed plastic bag. Pretty big. I for my money, I think they should hire somebody to actually write this. It would sell like hotcakes.
Well, maybe there's a recreation of the sports almanac from Back to the Future 2. I'm sure there's a place you can get to that.
Of course.
Handbook.
I also have this cup that has an advertisement for.
Now all we need is one
we're
more
number
girl.
one in repossession. The Afterlife's leading bioexorcist Beetlejuice got no guts. At a dead end. Call now. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Don't be a ghoul. Give Beetlejuice a call. With all sorts of beetles and alike on it. And I picked
I want that.
Sandworm Topper for the cup.
They sell them on eBay.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not going to buy it.
yeah. Look at that.
I just want someone to give it to me.
The bucket's amazing.
it is. And it was so pristine. When I got it, they didn't even put popcorn in it. They gave me a separate thing for popcorn because no, this can't be tainted, even though it's a popcorn bucket. So that these were theater promotions. My theater only had I think 12 of these, so I got lucky because I was amongst the first 8 to arrive. And while I'm big, I'll just show off the last Beetlejuice paraphernalia I have, which is the 4K steelbook of the original.
Oh, that's beautiful
Incredible.
front page artwork.
Yes, with a beetle and striped on the back. And yeah, good, nice set.
Yeah.
Somebody's headphones are too loud. It's causing mild echo.
Is it me?
I'm not hearing anything.
Not sure.
But hang on a second. I'll do my settings and see if I can.
Is it me?
Oh, no, I know how to do this. There's a little knob. There's a little knob. Everything will be fine. Is that better? Jill?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it is better.
Is it me?
So I turned
Was
down
it
the
that?
Yeah,
volume.
no, it's not you. It was Scotty, R37.
It was.
Well, in
I'm sorry. You
attempted
can
to
talk
fix
about
it.
Beetlejuice now. I do
Well,
like all
in-
the stuff you have. That popcorn
in-
bucket was amazing.
in the UK, Odeon Cinemas had a cup that had the Beetlejuice, and it had a battery pack in it, and it was a light up sign. But yeah, I didn't get one
Well,
because
and,
I didn't sit at an Odeon. I saw it at Cineworld. So
Well, and that's the thing. Like living where I live, we don't get all the cool stuff. Although they did have the handbook for the recently deceased tins,
Yeah.
but those were only really available for like if you went there on Thursday or Friday. I went on Tuesday. I wasn't paying full price for this.
oh no,
Prince of the Netherworld.
Hello.
How you doing?
I've been summoned for this very posthumous party.
It is. But you're like almost a day late.
Yeah.
All right. No, I
I
tried.
don't know what's going on.
It's also
Welcome.
the
How you
Netherworld
doing,
Classroom
man?
cartoon show.
I'm sorry, lady. I couldn't hear you. Can you please repeat that?
Yeah, Prince of the Netherworld from the TV show instead of Netherworld. Scott.
Ah,
See,
And I'm sure Bernie
I don't
recognizes
do-
that cartoon.
I don't do good with
Netherworld.
self-references.
Is it Francis?
Since you say Deo, what do you think about that song being played? Well, this is spoilers, right?
Yeah.
In the funeral.
I
Oh, I loved it.
Flyer.
Yeah, it was a bit odd that in terms of the story logic as to why Delia chooses to have the kids singing that song at Charles's funeral.
Yeah, very
uh,
odd.
But it was a good rendition of it, at least. I mean, it's there for winking at the camera, basically. One of the few times
Why-
it does that.
why do you and Tony? I heard you say. Why do you think it's an odd choice to play at his funeral?
Well, it was such a random thing from the first film, and and it was yeah.
Please.
Yep.
Like
I think that it kind of makes sense, actually, because it seems that she really appreciated that moment of discovering those ghosts in that house, and it's a memory for her that means something to her, and she still does. Well, obviously she's still doing weird rituals and stuff even now. That's what ends up killing her, and so maybe this was the connection between the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Tim Burton said the reason they even have the MacArthur Park song in there is because they were deliberately trying to repeat the Deo scene from the first movie. And because Burton has the MacArthur Park song on his personal jukebox, and it was one of his favorite songs, he decided to pick that. Even though I think that went on a bit too long.
It was very odd.
It was a bit odd because it's like, well, you already did that gag in the first movie.
Well, it sounded, obviously, because it sounds just like the Richard Harris version, but it's got those extra lines in it, like the stripy pants and stuff like that. But it's very odd.
Well, first things first, it was a wedding.
It was a wedding, yeah.
And it was Beetlejuice doing his thing, which is one of the things that he did in the original. Yes, but when you've got a skill, don't bury it.
Yeah.
And also, in terms of them singing Deo at the funeral, and we'll get to how much Jeffrey Jones's likeness is used in this film. We'll get to that later.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the context of the character of Charles Dietz, Charles bought the house, loved the house, and had some of the most exciting times in that house, and then retired to that house. Like, him being possessed by Deo, especially with Delia being there and her being in control of the memorial, if you will, the funeral. It all makes sense to me perfectly, considering the characters that I was introduced to in 1988.
Yeah.
I hate to be the logical person in the middle of a comedy, but I think all of the character interactions make sense. I just figured, you know what? The only thing that I didn't believe in was that I always figured that if Winona Ryder had a baby, then she would get fat.
Well, some people bounce back on the first one more easily. It's the second one that gets you.
Makes sense. And she has money, so like trainers.
Right. She's on TV. So that's how the movie starts, really, is that she's got a TV show, like the Haunted House TV show where she is a medium.
Yes.
That was the title that the studio wanted for the original movie, Ghost House. And so that's what they called Lydia's show.
Now, did you get a little Ghostbusters 2 vibe out of this? And it was like Pete Venkman. I'm glad that when she does go into the washroom, when she freaks out after having thought. By the way, we're just going step by step here, and thinks she sees Beetlejuice in the audience, and then she goes to the bathroom to take her pills. Don't know what kind of pills, and then she sees another ghost.
She said they're benzos.
Yeah. What are those?
Like Valium.
Oh, okay. I trust you. You're a doctor.
Yes.
No,
and her boyfriend digs them out of the trash for her because he throws them into the trash.
Yeah.
Right. And then he takes one. Like they share one. It's like, okay, I'll rescue your pills this time. And then
but
he takes
it's really
one as
just
well,
to catch us up with what she's doing.
But it does show some sort of, codependence.
Yeah, codependence.
Which is exactly what is proven later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's how the story starts. Is we're reintroduced to characters that we haven't seen in a long time, but we believe that they're still the same people. There's nothing that tells me that they're not. And
did you see?
It kind of makes sense that
Catherine
she
O'Hara?
would monetize that. Somebody was topless in this movie?
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. She was blue and split in half and completely nude.
Oh, yes. I think that was a cool scene, obviously.
Seeing her
And
art installation. Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas with Sally, but she uses stitches instead of staples to put herself back together.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
But-
that was the other character, Dolores, for this movie. But yeah.
Yeah, but Dolores, she doesn't really. That was the coolest scene ever, and that actually made me afraid of her. And then they did absolutely nothing with her after that.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the big problems, I think, is that the antagonists kind of both get beaten really easily.
And the worms.
Yes, Mars Monkey Max, there were sandworms. But yeah, Delia's whole art installation, it's like, yeah, it probably would scare people away, like Dick Cavett suggested in the first movie.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was going to show up because he's still around, because I know at the big the grief collective that they have at the house, she thinks she spots Maxie Dean, and the guy they cast for the lookalike is like standing behind the real estate agent, but she's like, oh, it's not Maxie Dean, But we see that they're also very well off and wealthy. Like they've donated a whole art wing to the boarding school where Astrid is, and then they kind of rush through the whole backstory that Lydia was married, she divorced, her husband then died on a trip to the Amazon. Astrid was very close to him, and she doesn't like the fact that her mom can't see his ghost where she can see all these other people's ghosts, and that's why she thinks she's a fraud. So it's like, okay, that's kind of nice, kind of like, skip through that, and that you can see that that's going to be the main, I guess, the one arc that kind of works in the movie in terms of having a solid character story there.
Yeah, that's why it works for me, is because Astrid is written as a very realistic teenager in terms of my experience with, being very intelligent book-wise, but not really knowing what's going on, still being really naive.
Yeah.
So I felt that.
I don't know, Mars Monkey Max. He wants to know what the movie was where the old lady hid her will in a fake book when she got murdered. The girl renting the house finds it. I don't know. But here's something that
It's not house.
the emo with the gun mentions. It says, why not use Dolores as the chick trying to steal Abigail's life, or Astrid's life? That would have been a way to involve Dolores more with the story rather than inventing the other character, Jeremy.
Yeah, but you don't establish Astrid's ability to see the dead without.
It would have
Without
been more
Jeremy.
difficult. It would have been more difficult for Dolores to trick Astrid. A boyfriend was the easier way to go.
Like, I think that it is stuffed, but I think that it is saying so many different things. And also, with Dolores, I've seen the horror movie It Follows. All I needed was a driving push. And as Jill said, like, the staple gun scene really engaged me into Dolores as just a visual presence. I objectified her as a ghost who was coming to kill people and being a
Not just
soul
people.
sucker. Ghosts.
But since she's a soul sucker, she can kill you twice. Even if you're dead, you can die again.
She
through
did.
her.
We've seen it.
So
I just thought that she was just a relentless force that we were trying to get away from. And ironically, we get what's his nuts from Mulholland Drive to get eaten by the sandworm with them. Although I did think it was kind of lazy that they killed the ghosts at the end of the movie with the sandworm again.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, that's too bad. I wish they had done something more fun, especially considering they had the whole cop force.
Well, I think the reason they do that is because they needed to give Astrid some type of victory. Otherwise, she's just a plot device for Lydia's story. Yeah. And you knew that Lydia, being the basket case that she was, is going to be granted the ultimate victory over Beetlejuice. It's just a given. So by creating this Dolores character and having Astrid be the one to take her out that gives her something to do, rather than just stand around in the chapel in the climax.
I think it'd be interesting if they do make a third movie, but hopefully not in 36 years. And they set it in sort of a post-apocalyptic future, and just call it Beetlejuice. But make it say next year or the year after, but have it be like a sort of Mad Max world. But yeah, I just yeah, it's one of those crazy ideas that comes up every now and then.
Yeah, because it seems almost. I don't think they're probably going to do a third one because it feels like the whole Dolores storyline could have been an antagonist for a whole Beetlejuice movie, by itself. And like this movie kept, throwing in all these different type of ideas. Kind of like the whole storyline with Lydia, with Astrid and Jeremy could have been stretched a little bit further because it gets resolved well before the climax.
Easily.
On a very sudden, admittedly a very funny note, but still.
It was, yeah. But yeah, a bit too easy. I was kind of thinking he was going to be the real antagonist, but as say, both of them were just dealt with so easily.
Yeah, he was taken out with bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole joke about the first movie too, is that the land of the living is like this very peaceful, quaint little country village type thing, and then you go to the afterlife and it's just a terrible bureaucracy, like just as bad as going to your local DMV.
Shooter, the emu with the gun, was Willem Dafoe necessary? He kind of felt shoved in there. I thought he was hilarious.
He was. But
yeah, he was really funny.
I thought that he was sort of the equivalent of remember the old lady who was introducing the Maitlands to the afterlife?
God. Yeah, trying to get them to sell the house.
And I thought that she was the one who was the authority figure in the movie.
Oh no, sorry.
She had more gravitas in the original, but with Willem Dafoe in the new one, is we had a buffoon, part of the bureaucracy, but he was still like, I liked him. I liked Willem Dafoe.
He felt like he belonged in a different movie.
No, I thought he belonged in this movie.
But what was he really?
Especially when we got to MacArthur Park.
Because he says he's a cop, but he's just an actor. So what was he actually doing?
Well, it's like the bureaucracy.
He was pretending to be a cop.
Well, it's like the bureaucracy has to employ certain people. Like the reason Lydia can never see her husband is because he's stuck working in the immigration desk in this afterlife thing. And I guess because he played because Wolf Jackson was a actor in real life playing a cop all the time, they figured, you could be the cop, and in the spirit of an incompetent bureaucracy, we'll just have an actor who's imitated a cop be our afterlife cop.
Yeah.
And he's funny. It's true that he has no impact on the events in the movie. I thought he was going to. The one plot thread they leave dangling is all of the shrunken head people are still running around the town of Winter River.
Yeah.
Which I think was more script oversight than anything. But I thought Willem Dafoe was really fun and funny.
Yeah. But
building up the idea of the MacArthur Park scene, like he's going to have an impact when they're sneaking into the church, and then he doesn't, like, they don't do anything.
No. But as I say, it's like the Maitlands. The Maitlands, what happened to the Maitlands was never really an issue for me, because obviously the whole loophole thing and it being so bureaucratic, it was kind of they were pretty intelligent people. They could eventually work something out. Yeah.
Found a loophole.
But also, like, one of the rules of the Beetlejuice universe is that you don't say Beetlejuice 3 times.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cursed to finish the trilogy. You can't. You better not make a third movie. You don't know what's going to happen. He'll show up.
That was a funny, I don't know if that's an oversight or maybe the idea is that saying his name 3 times only, maybe that only works in the land of the living, because in the land of the dead, Wolf Jackson and Dolores are looking for Beetlejuice everywhere, but they don't seem to know if you say his name 3 times, he'll just, appear. So I guess it doesn't work in the afterlife.
I would very much like to know the specifics about how the afterlife of the Beetlejuice universe.
Because in the first movie, they only
if it is contradictory, then I think the entire verisimilitude of the fiction, there is no truth in this art, and there is no adherence to its own rules. Thusly, I cannot take any value in it whatsoever.
Well, no, like I said, in the first movie, they only do that in the land of the living. That nobody ever says it in the land of the dead. And Juno is the one who told the Maitlands, don't even say his name, but she told them that, in the land of the living. Yeah. So I guess it doesn't work in the netherworld, because, I mean, there was the scene when Delia is in the waiting room and she's just died, being killed by the ass. But she doesn't get to say his name the 3rd time, and he just kind of shows up in there anyway.
The problem with that is that Beetlejuice is he takes customers who are dead, and he helps them with their problems, doesn't he? By affecting the lives. Well, he does terrible, murderous, ridiculous things to the living to help the dead. And that is actually included in this movie.
We're here for your daughter, Chuck.
Because
he also has
somebody says
call center.
Somebody calls the call center and they're like, my wife already remarried and I just died a couple days ago.
Yep.
Oh, right. I forgot it. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just kill the new husband and possess the wife, make her do unsavory things, and then I'll post the pics.
Yeah. No, that was rad. That was really cool. I liked how he's a hustler. Shooter, Kat, I'm going to go have a smoke. Okay. Did you want to talk about the Italian flashback?
Oh, yeah. So Shooter, the emo with a gun, says, I like that we got Beetlejuice's backstory. Yes, that was funny that he is an Italian grave robber who is miraculously, he must have an ability to survive pretty well, because he's robbing bodies that have been, of their jewelry, that if people have died from the plague. And he's still living, and he's like ripping the rings off the fingers and tearing the earrings out, and he rips some guy's teeth out and he starts biting it to see if it's real. And he's narrating this whole black and white scene in Italian, and that's when Dolores shows up, and they fall in love, and they get married by biting the heads off of chickens and sacrificing a goat. And after they make out and make love and all that, she tricks him into drinking a poison, and he starts like frothing at the mouth. But before he dies, he lives just long enough to kill her with an axe, because it turns out she was leader of a soul-sucking death cult, and you need to marry somebody and then kill them and then suck their souls out in order to maintain immortality. And so that's what her deal was. And I guess because she got chopped to pieces, her unclaimed body parts were put into different crates in a back storage room. And when the janitor accidentally causes an electrical incident, it reanimates the pieces of the corpse in the boxes. So they put them puts herself back together with a staple gun per the Bee Gees tragedy playing, which is great.
And it kind of explains why he's not a normal ghost either. Why he's kind of a ghoul, because his soul has been somehow messed up.
Yeah, he might be cursed because in the afterlife they say there's all these different destinations. There's the pearly gates, there's the fires of damnation, there's the Elysium fields, and then the great beyond. So I guess there's some form of judgment whether or not you get to pass on and where you're going. I'd imagine that as a grave robber during the plague, he probably wasn't going to be going to heaven. So combine that with drinking the poison, suicide on top of that, even if it wasn't his intention. I don't know, maybe he's been cursed.
Sounds delightful.
Definitely. Yeah, that was a pretty good scene. No, I enjoyed that. It was kind of like suddenly stepping into an opera and just exiting the movie for a minute and going back in time. It was fun.
And randomly narrating all that to the Bobs inside the and he's having them just stack like a bunch of filing cabinets, so he's just kicking back in his chair. He's like, yeah, just stack that higher. We can't let Dolores get in. And it's like, you're really not taking that many precautions against this. Phantom Organist, what did you think about Beetlejuice's revealed origins?
I really appreciated that part of the movie because in the first one he has really no backstory, so that ties everything up with him in a nice bow for me.
Yeah,
About how he became what he is.
yeah, because the only thing they told us about him in the first movie is that he used to be Juno's assistant.
Yes.
Let's see, Prince of the Netherworld. If you're still here, have you seen the new one yet?
No,
Oh, okay.
I've been invited. I like the company.
Oh, okay. So what? Well, now that we've spoiled it, what do you like?
I like Bob.
Oh yeah, everybody loves Bob.
Who doesn't like Bob?
I just love how Bob is just like needlessly, like when Beetlejuice tells him point blank, "Yeah, I need you to dress like me, so that way if Dolores shows up, I can have her suck your soul out instead of mine." And he's just fine with that, or he doesn't know how to say no, or how to just run away.
He can make his quick escape.
Oh yeah, like all the other ones do when they rush back out to the blown door. But oh, funny thing. Okay, so question regarding the Jeremy character: did anybody figure out what was going on before they reveal it, or not?
No, can I go first?
Sure.
Okay. So I thought, because again, I'm used to legacy sequels with jangly keys, I thought the parents were going to be famous people. So I was waiting for a reveal of the cameos, because at that point, I think we had Danny DeVito, and I was like, well, that's jarring. And I was like, there's Danny DeVito. I had no idea. Spoilers. And then when it became like, when I saw the parents, I was like, okay, so they're going to be famous people of some sort. And then when I did see it, I realized how stupid I was as a moviegoer, because I was more interested in the celebrity cameo than the plot reveal. And so I was like, oh shit, he was dead. If I wasn't so like washed over in celebrity culture, I actually would have paid attention to this story.
I think what threw me off was the existence of hipsters, is because just because he has these old classic records doesn't mean that he's like, I believed he was still a kid who was alive in the current times, because there were a lot of kids who are into classic things these days.
Yeah, I've
Shooter gets it.
Scotty being stupid.
I like him.
Tony, did you pick up on it before they revealed the twist with that character?
I kind of guessed there was something off about him, but it was a nice little touch.
How about you, Phantom Organist?
I think I was thinking he might have been a ghost, because he kind of implied he hasn't like left the area, or he kind of wasn't able to leave the area. And then when it was then when they did reveal that he was actually dead, whenever he's floating her up in the air and everything, and it's like, oh, don't be scared.
Yeah.
So did he actually say that he never leaves his house?
He said
I don't remember.
I
just remember him saying
all he said was he
stuck in
couldn't
this
wait to get out of this town.
Yeah. He talked about
Well,
the town.
and
So
when
he sounded more like a kid stuck because his parents are living there.
And when Astrid says, like, what's going on, and he's like, well, if you need a break, I'll be here. And he does say later on, it's like, I couldn't believe you saw me.
Yes.
The other thing
is the fact that you didn't see the parents' faces made me think, what is going on here?
I thought it was going to be George Clooney and Selma Hayek or something.
My first clue that there was something off is when Astrid crashes her bike through the fence and down into his treehouse, which is how he sees her. And, they have a little back and forth of discussion, but one of the first wide shots, I'm not sure if it's the first time she sees him or if it's the next day when she goes back, but they have a wide shot of the treehouse, and it looks very similar in design and framing to the Tree of the Dead from Sleepy Hollow. And I'm like, uh-oh, there's something that's not good. But I still wasn't sure what it was going to be because he didn't look, dead like other ghosts have, like, exaggerated injuries or whatever. And I thought, well, maybe, granted the Maitlands didn't either, but I thought there was something when he mentions that he doesn't like digital stuff. Oh, I like, she's like, oh, you got a great 90s vinyl collection. He's like, yeah, I like stuff that I could actually touch. I'm like, okay, I bought that. And when he says he got the handbook for the recently deceased at a flea market, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember the Maitland said they left theirs behind accidentally, so maybe he did. But I was still suspicious as to the. It's like, man, that tree. If he's dead, I didn't really know where the story was going with it though until he. And then of course when he raises off the floor, then I was able to put two and two together. I'm like, oh, he wants to. Yeah. He wants to kill her. And so. I thought, and then she's just too gullible, and he baits her with, "You could see your dad again if you come to the afterlife and help me come back from the dead."
Oh, by the way,
Yeah,
Jill.
Well,
I'm so glad you're here. So you've seen Star Trek Picard, yes?
Unfortunately, this is a fact. I've seen.
So
except for season 2.
Cristobal Rios, the captain of the ship that Picard takes in Picard season 1.
Oh, Jeremy did shoot her.
The cute guy, yeah.
Yeah, he is. That's the same actor as the father of Astrid, the piranha bitten boy.
I liked him. I liked him as a piranha bitten man.
Yes,
he was really sweet. No, but that was a sweet family moment,
He's
but
a
also
good
really
actor.
goofy at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's getting more work.
He was
even though he was in the Picard.
Yeah, he was also.
And they had. Go ahead.
He was also Aramis in the BBC's TV series of The Musketeers.
Oh heavens! I haven't seen.
Greetings, Eugene Bird. Did you know it took me by total surprise? Like I said, I thought I saw clues. But it wasn't until he started raising her off the ground that I figured out what his end game was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that it was a little weird. It didn't even. No, you know what? I didn't think it was weird when he said, "No, I don't really want to hand out candy. I just want to stay up here with you because I just thought teenagers' libidos."
I thought that was
didn't
teenagers'
give me.
Yeah. I was actually kind of worried because it's like, I mean, I thought maybe the Tree of the Dead thing could be a misdirect, but maybe my mind has just been in dark places lately. I just thought something horrible was going to happen, like he was going to turn out to try and attack her or something. And when he wants to stay up here,
and you're right,
because he was kind of caught off guard initially when he said he wanted to stay up there, and the way he's saying it, and he's kind of uneasy about it. And I thought, oh geez, is he going to be a psycho and like trying to assault her or something? I was kind of worried because, and I was absorbed enough in the story that I forgot. No, this is a family film. That's not going to happen. So, yeah.
I kind of had that feeling too a little bit. That's kind of just a female instinct of, oh, dude, what is this dude doing? But it wasn't. I didn't think he was dead yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. How much do you want more to explore of the lad, of the murder boy?
Oh, nothing. That's it.
I thought it was hilarious when he. I like the fact that he's in the spirit of being an actual psychopath. He doesn't seem like crazy. That he plays the whole thing even normal. Even when he finally reveals to her that, oh yeah, I tricked you so I could come back from the dead. He's not like
actually. He's
not cackling or rubbing his hands. He's just like, like a psychopath would be, just totally not, nonchalant about it. But I thought that
I was watching my son. I think my son really liked that character, and I think he was really disappointed to see him turn like that. And so that was really sad for him to see.
I did think that joke was hilarious though when
he was just the cute boy who was actually seducing or actually making a connection with a young lady in town, and then you found out that he was evil.
I did think it was hilarious though when he finally, he gets the passport stamped, and of course it's Beetlejuice stamping it shit out of luck. He's like, "That was the words of Dostoevsky who said, 'Later, fucker,'" and just pulls the lever, sending him to hell. It was just great. Oh god, I laughed. Great, I loved it.
There was, and I don't know.
Oh, did Eugene Bird? He fell out
Hey.
of his seat when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, so did Jeffrey. But like I thought that there was an editing incongruity. There was something about help me and I'll help you. We have to figure this out. And there was something that when I watched it, I was like, oh no, this should have been like all the scenes were good. I just feel like they were put in the wrong order. And you
Yeah.
can't blame
Right.
that on projection or anything nowadays because it's all released digitally. But it just there was something about the construction of the progression of events that I was like, I get what you're going for, but you did it. It got a little sloppy.
Right, like
So
especially after Lydia rushes to go save, because of course as we know, once Lydia found out that her daughter was taken to the afterlife by this creep, she has to summon Beetlejuice for help, signs a contract agreeing to marry him so he can escape his soul-sucking ex-wife in exchange for saving Astrid. And after she runs off to the soul train to save Astrid and they fall into the trapdoor with all the sandworms or whatever, I thought it was very jarring that once their dad, Richard, once Astrid's dad, Lydia's ex, saves them, they sit down for coffee. And it's like, wait a minute, don't you have to get back to the immigration? Aren't you in a race to stop the boy from stamping the passport?
You have to have a sweet family moment to connect mother and daughter back together so they don't hate well, the daughter doesn't.
Right, but they could take that maybe later. It's like you got a much more urgent thing going on that you need to resolve. And then even her dad's like, oh yeah, we could do that. We could catch up later because we have to stop him from getting his passport stamped. I'm like, yeah, you probably should have worried about that a little while ago because he was late.
Not only that,
Beetlejuice got there. That
let's not forget that the entire reason that Astrid doesn't believe in Lydia's ability to see the dead is because Lydia can't see her father, and then he's like, there's one line of dialogue and it's like, I know you can't see me, but I'm checking up on you. See you later. And that's it. Like, we never find out why Lydia can't see. Never find out.
I got the sense that maybe it was a choice that he was making.
Yeah,
I think you're reading into it, but I accept your reading in.
Well, you're right. They really don't explain it except that he's stuck at this job. Like somehow the job is a barrier. There might be some kinds of barriers.
I don't know.
I did think it was funny that when Beetlejuice is giving Lydia instructions on how to get to the soul train, because she's like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I have to run to the little boy's room. And I thought, what? Instead, he runs off to immigration so he could stamp the passport.
yeah.
Eugene Bird says, I thought it meant he was actually alive. And I would like to say this with the most amount of love, Eugene. He had piranhas eating at his flesh in the afterlife. I do not believe he was alive.
Or
yes, that was so sad.
Well, see, one of the things that I think about is that you don't really manifest as a ghost or anything unless you've got unfinished business, and maybe he had none. There was nothing he really had to do in the living world, so he didn't manifest outside of the afterlife.
Well, of course, the person that is still alive is Lydia's real mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's not dead. They do make a point of it.
Yeah.
They do say.
No, she dies.
No, her real mother.
Because
yeah,
Delia is so Charles
Yeah.
is Lydia's biological father, but they got divorced and Charles married Delia. There was animosity between Lydia and Delia, but they came together after Charles died.
Well, as I said, the real question is why did Lydia stay with Charles?
What do you mean? Why did Lydia stay with Charles? That's her dad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if if there were
If you're gonna bring up
problems
some
between
Jeffrey
he and
Jones shit,
Jim.
I'm gonna be pissed.
No, I mean, if there were problems between Lydia and Delia, would it not have? Did she not have the choice to stay with her mother, or was there some kind of?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Because they never do address why she's living with the dad instead of living. Because you're right. Because she has problems with Delia, but she's still living with Charles and not her mom.
Yeah,
But the Dietzes are super rich.
That's true.
Let
And
me
even
talk.
though Delia makes the joke inferring that her mom may as well be dead, I'm like, what does that mean? There were drugs or something like that, and maybe she had to live with Charles. Who knows? But I
Did
did
we
like
ever
that
see her
moment
real
where
mom? I don't
make
remember this.
No,
I did like that
never.
bit where they make up. Where she's like, "Yeah, you don't really like me, but you know what? We've made out pretty well for each other, or been,
Yeah.
pretty good to each other."
That's the thing, is that I kind of feel like Delia is her mom without actually being biological, because she behaves very much like it in delighting at Lydia's children treating her the way she did when Lydia was a kid, and that's something my mother does to me.
Lemon.
Pie. Thank you for the panel.
That's lemon.
Hello, lemon pie.
Oh, this is interesting. Shooter the Emu has a theory as to why they can't see Richard's ghost. He says, in the first movie, people who commit self-deletion become civil servants. The dad is working at the train station. What was his death, albeit unintentional, his own fault, thus putting him in bureaucratic servitude? Maybe. That's a good question. That's a good observation.
Maybe he put himself well.
Because Beetlejuice technically committed that as well, because even though Dolores tricked him, he's the one who drank the poison. So that might be why he was, stuck working for Juno.
I always thought it would have to be intentional, otherwise it's not.
That's true.
Self-deletion.
That's true.
Can we just say suicide like adults?
We can.
Sure,
I already said it before.
Like,
I
I
say
hate
it when I
it
wanna.
when people like sugarcoat this. Suicide Dolls, that's a name
It's
of a
not
band.
that. I think it's the algorithm.
Suicide Kings, it's the name of a movie.
It's the algorithm on YouTube. It's not that they're trying to be sensitive. It's
All right, well,
Suicidal tendencies.
Is that a thing?
We're past the threshold, so we could say things now. I think that only
Fuckity fuck.
Yes, exactly. But that's a good observation. Shooter the Emu with a guy. Sort of like how you notice how there were a ton of people in line for immigrations, but it seems like Astrid's the only one who's being tricked into trading her soul, which suggests that there's other ways in the afterlife that you could get permission to cross over without having to kill anybody, which they don't go into, which, again, it's fine. They don't need to explain how the entire bureaucracy works, because that would ruin the point. You're mocking the ineptitude of the bureaucracy.
It's in the handbook.
Right. And then
that's why we need the handbook.
Yes, exactly. Like, what's the difference between the Great Beyond and the Pearly Gates? Because those are two separate destinations for the Soul Train.
Well, you know what? That's interesting, and right? I thought about that.
You did? Well, okay, so did you have a theory as to what you think it is, Scotty?
Well,
like Pearly Gates, maybe for those who still need to be judged, and Great Beyond, if you're so good, you just automatically get to go through.
Yeah.
No, but the Pearly Gates seemed like a situation where, like, if you go to the Pearly Gates, like, there is a judgment at the Pearly Gates, but you're going to get through the Pearly Gates. You don't have to take a train to get to the Great Beyond. The Great Beyond, I don't know. I don't know what the Great Beyond is.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds wholesome. I don't fear it.
Oh, thank you, Shooter. That was very generous of you. Oh, we could say it. I'm trying to protect the channel. Yeah, I think the way the algorithm works is like for the first 10 minutes, there's certain keywords you can't say, and then after 10 minutes, you're good. But I'm not sure if that extends to the comment section or not.
And I have these staff meetings with every channel that I'm a part of all the time. It's like, I'm not allowed to say this word. I'm not allowed to say that word. And then when it turns out that I'm actually not allowed to say those words, it's like, look, you weren't supposed to say that. So
now you're
I'm an imp. I'm an imp. I shouldn't say the theme song to MASH because apparently it'll incite violence.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm
it's
the
not
one
always
who's in violation.
though, is it? You know.
So it's like safe to say that when Beetlejuice pulled the trap door for Jeremy, that's Fires of Damnation destination. The Great Beyond is where, surprisingly, that's where they were going to send Astrid. I thought that Astrid, instead of just simply switching places to go to the Great Beyond, that they were going to send her in his place to the Fires of Damnation, because that's where his soul really deserved to go.
Right.
Which would have added more urgency to the story that, oh, you're not just going to some peaceful afterlife. You're going to go to hell to pay for his sins. And
that would have been scarier. I like your idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know what the Elysium Fields are, but I saw that as one of the destinations.
Well, that's where Maximus goes at the end of Gladiator.
Shooter, I appreciate the way that you spelled rules. Scotty violating the rules. Yep, that tracks
every
just as much as
character.
it is when I'm being stupid. Thank you, Shooter.
I did think it was funny that Michael Keaton requested that his character Beetlejuice not have as much screen time, because he said that he didn't want to be driving the story as much as the first one. And I thought, you're not really driving the story in the first movie, because other than a few teases, he doesn't really show up proper as a character until 47 minutes into an 89-minute movie. So it's like, I wasn't really sure what he meant by that, but I know he doesn't usually watch his own movies that much, or watch a bunch of movies in general, which he mentioned last year in an interview. So I don't know, maybe he just misremembered and thought his character drove the story. Because I was surprised. My introduction to Beetlejuice was the cartoon show that was on reruns in the 90s.
And he was.
So I had assumed that. Right, so I had assumed that Lydia and Beetlejuice are best friends like they are on the show. So when I saw the movie, I was very surprised, because I'm like, who are these Maitland people? Why are they taking over the movie? When are we going to get to the good stuff? And then seeing that Beetlejuice is like an outright villain, I was kind of surprised by that. So, I guess he didn't watch. I guess Keaton didn't watch the movie either to remember. Like even Burton said he didn't rewatch the first movie to prepare for this one.
But they do that with a lot of cartoon adaptations. I mean, look at the Hulk Hogan cartoon. I mean, if you watch that, you'd think Hulk Hogan was a good guy, right?
Well, yeah.
Are you talking about?
Oh, go ahead.
Are you talking about Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling from the 1980s?
Yes.
Hulk Hogan was the good guy.
Well,
I feel like we've lost the plot.
We did lose the plot, but I am very
Beetlejuice
defensive about that handlebarred, mustache, bald, blonde boy.
But Kat just said the thing that I really love about this movie is that Beetlejuice was more of the villain antagonist in the first movie, and he's more of the hero antagonist. He's still an antagonist. He's still not good. He's not a good person.
He's an anti-hero in this one.
An anti-hero. Yes. There it is.
He's kind of
more like the cartoon, and that's why I thought it was great.
He's kind of the definition of I've got friends in low places.
Yeah.
And when they have to figure out what's going on.
Well, it's sort of like when you first see him in this movie, he's got the picture of like 16-year-old Lydia on his desk, and he's pining for 16.
That's kind of crazy. But it makes sense.
Yeah, and then they try and buy it back by him saying, "Oh, I like when Lydia's like, of course when he says, oh, I'll help you save your daughter, but quid pro quo." She's like, "Of course, what do you want?" And he tries to justify her marrying him as saying, "Well, if you marry me, I have to marry you to escape my soul-sucking ex-wife, because that way she'll be trapped in the afterlife forever. She can't escape the afterlife unless she finishes the job by taking my soul." And they try and make it seem anti-heroic when really he clearly in the MacArthur Park sequence, he's not thinking about Dolores. He just loves that he's finally going to be able to marry Lydia.
Yeah. Yeah.
We finally found the plot again.
Exactly.
Right, but that's the thing. It's like a line of dialogue and you miss it. Like even Wolf Jackson, when they go to the dry cleaners where Dolores went to kill the guy who runs the dry cleaners because she wanted to steal a wedding dress, which she turns all black with her magic. Wolf Jackson's like, oh, she set on a reunion with her ex, Beetlejuice, but he didn't say why or what the purpose of it was. We only find out from Beetlejuice later on when Lydia's pleading for his help, and it's like, again, a quick blink and you miss it type line.
Yeah, exactly.
I was surprised that they didn't bring back the same act. Like, instead of it being the same real estate agent, it's her daughter. That actress is still working today and still alive in her 60s.
Yeah.
I thought they would have brought her back. That would have been fun. But I did find it funny that her daughter's the same way, and that she kind of weirdly is excited about kicking this family out of the house to go neighbor shopping for for a new
weird
family
thing.
I know. It's very odd.
Yeah, it was one of the weird things about the first movie. It's like,
She's upset that the Maitlands are moving into that big house. It's for a family. And she's like, and they brush her aside, kind of like that scene in The Departed when the Matt Damon character is scoping out that huge apartment, and the real estate agent is kind of looking at him sideways. He's like, "I have a co-signer," and he's like, "Oh, okay." It's like, what do you care? You're making the sale.
I want to welcome Daniel's Hot Topics to the chat. Hey, Dan. He says he was the bad guy in the first Beetlejuice, and he is the anti-hero in this one. That's exactly what I was thinking. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. He's sort of like an impish sidekick, but also, who was the good guy in Terminator 2? Was it the Terminator?
Well, yeah, because he was there to protect John Connor, and he even helped him destroy himself to prevent even his own creation in the future by preventing the creation of Skynet. Even though he himself is a byproduct of Skynet, so he's committing self-sacrifice. So yeah, he's the hero, Schwarzenegger.
But I think that's the problem with the marketing. The marketing in the Terminator 2 kind of ruined the surprise that Schwarzenegger was the hero.
Yes. Well, but what I'm saying is, and it's not necessarily to get a deep dive into Terminator 2 and the marketing of it, but I'm just saying, yeah, no, Beetlejuice does become a little bit more sympathetic in the second one while also being an antagonist. But we are in the theater to see Beetlejuice. And so when he is impish, like, again, I keep saying impish, but like when he is antagonistically but on the same side, cooperative, sarcastic, he's just like a guy who's bouncing around for his own self-service, but he's not necessarily malicious, not in the second one. And if you were looking for him to go all Kruger, then this is not the movie.
It's funny you should mention that, because Shooter the Emu says, yeah, but Beetlejuice can pull off the anti-hero thing. Imagine Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger becoming the anti-hero. It doesn't work. That's very true.
No.
That definitely...
Well, but the way they set Jason Voorhees up in the remake, he was kind of like a Rambo-like survivalist, right?
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees, I didn't watch it, so I don't really care.
Yeah, they did. They tried to do that to justify why he's able to cross great distances without running, because he has like a system of tunnels and he's survivalist. It's kind of weird, but that movie didn't. Yeah. It failed.
That's hilarious. Trip, you got to be kidding me. Beetlejuice got humbled by the events of the... Yes, Beetlejuice got humbled. Stop working for Disney.
Eugene Bird says he is your id. Oh, and Eugene, I guess, showed up late. He asked us what did we think of the backstory. We liked it. We really liked it. We thought it was funny. It was very clever. And it was cool.
I actually, I make a point of soaking up every moment that I pay for my ticket because of the comfortable chairs. So I watch all of the credits, and it was interesting to see, like, Italian narration voice. And so, like, and I don't remember the name. It was Italian. But
I didn't think that was Michael Keaton when I saw it.
No, it wasn't.
He had like prosthetics on, right?
Oh, what, in the flashback? For sure.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah.
He had like jowls.
All right, so Jill does have to take a step away. So no, she's still here. She's still here. She'll be back when she's ready. But yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought that was going back and visiting the first movie for a character that everybody's so beloved, and he's such an outright villain in the first one, and And the original script, it was even darker, where he doesn't really want to marry Lydia to escape to get to the real world. He just wants to have sex with her because he's a creep. And
Yeah.
the Maitland's death was a lot more horrific and drawn out and grisly, and it was just too no. And they totally did an overhaul to make it a bit less horror based and more family friendly. Even though Beetlejuice is still a villain in that one. But I did like the
It's
random.
kind of surprising. Considering what they did with Charles and doing the claymation of the plane crash and the shark attack and all that, like, why didn't they, instead of just being like they found a loophole and went to the great beyond, like, why wasn't there like a 2-minute Maitland's claymation?
That maybe because unlike Charles, whose death instigates the entire plot of the movie, the Maitlands are not part of the plot in any way, so they didn't feel the need to spend the budget. Because I know for fact that
also
originally this movie had a $147 million budget and it was going to go straight to Max, but Burton's like, no, we're doing this theatrical, and they said, well, if you do it theatrical, you got to keep it under 100. So they got it greenlit for $99 million by getting people to agree to lower their salaries. And that's what got it the theatrical release. So spending extra money to animate the Maitland sequence when it's not something which has anything to do with the plot, it's just a throwaway line. They could just do a throwaway line. So that's what they did.
Yeah, and that's also fair. But also, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, to license their likenesses, that would be expensive.
Yeah.
You know whose likeness is not expensive?
Jeffrey Jones.
That's right.
You still need his for the story.
He's begging for people to take his picture.
You don't need the Maitlands in the story, though. That's what I'm saying.
No, but it would have been fun. It would have been fun.
Do they have?
I'm not saying you need it.
I mean, if you're using only likeness as their characters, as previously shown, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, yeah, no, you need their, they need, yes.
Well,
look at Michael Biehn from Alien 3. Yes.
Yeah, but it's like it's like James Bond in comics. They can't use the likenesses from the films.
Right.
Well, they could do a claymation and make their faces look different for the sake of getting away with it, wearing the same clothes, and they could do that, but it's a budget issue, and so they're not gonna, and it's not necessary for the story, so that's why.
Trip says Maitland claymation.
It would have been,
It would have been nice to see, yes. But also, can everyone just say Maitland claymation? It's fun to say.
Matelation.
Does it break the fourth wall too much to do the whole claymation sequence with Charles's death?
It took me out a little bit, but it was fun.
It did, but it was early in the movie.
Right, but I mean, in terms of it being obvious why they're doing it as a claymation thing, does that kind of break your immersion?
No, and the thing is that you have to keep watching the movie, because after they did the claymation, they had the image of Jeffrey Jones.
That's right.
And I was like when I saw the claymation, I was like, oh, this is how they're getting around the fact that they're never going to have to show an image of Jeffrey Jones. And then they showed Jeffrey Jones, and I was like, what the fuck was the point of the claymation?
Yeah.
And so it's confusing. It was confusing, but joyously so.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know all of the problems with him. I didn't know why he was killed. And now I know. I know now. But when I was watching the movie, I just
would you like to tell us about them, Jill?
We're not discussing.
No. We don't have to discuss it.
Just a Reader's Digest. Just look through what he did.
We're not doing a Reader's Digest of that on the show.
All right.
People want to find that out, they can Google it.
He's one of the worst kind of people. Basically, I'll just say he's the worst kind of people you could be without killing people.
Yes.
But anyway, no, I felt it was kind of like the
comic.
Italian opera is better, but I felt like this was kind of like that. It was just a different way to tell the story. But I came back for a minute just to say that in the trivia of IMDb, which I'm not sure of. The Maitlands were supposed to have a cameo at the end of the film, but it says here that Tim Burton felt that no amount of digital de-aging would convince audiences that Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis were the same age as they were in the first film.
Ouch.
Well, not Alec Baldwin. Maybe Gina Davis.
What? Yeah, Alec Baldwin is a slightly different.
Gina Davis
shape
is still gorgeous.
now.
Yes.
So,
We should review Cutthroat Island.
oh,
Yeah.
dude, do I have a copy of it? I don't think I do.
That-
Shit.
She has never
If you were Nesto, I'm gonna go to the Beat Goes On and see if they have a copy.
Have you
Like
checked your
fine
father's collection?
wine.
No, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
Hey man, what's going on?
That was my first introduction to Gina Davis, Cutthroat Island.
Yeah. Well, no, mine was Transylvania.
5,000.
Yeah, and The Fly. Yeah.
The Fly was the second one.
Yeah. And both
Oh,
with
what about Fletch?
both with Jeff. Both with Jeff.
All right, we're all just falling in love with Gina Davis. Hey, everybody. This is not your Gina Davis retrospect.
Shooter mentions that the house looks like it did at the start of the first movie instead of all the horrible artistic disaster it finished as. That's right. All of the extensions to the house that Delia put on it in the first movie are not there in the sequel, even though
man.
they were still living there. That's a good observation. I noticed that too, because they had that weird extended patio with the extra wall that doesn't connect to anything, and that's not there anymore.
I was trying to think which year Earth Girls Are
Cat
Easy was,
disappeared.
but that was 89.
Ernesto.
That was after Beetlejuice.
Yes,
So I have good news.
Yeah.
you do.
I have just found
Ooh.
the Blu-ray
Ah,
to
yeah,
Cutthroat Island,
perfect,
and it costs $10
wonderful. Sounds like a-
Canadian.
Awesome.
That's like $4 American.
Yeah, that tracks.
Doesn't it? Anyway, I'm gonna put it on my wish list, and I'm
It
gonna
was-
order it tomorrow, and I'm probably gonna get it by
Cutthroat
Saturday.
Island. Cutthroat Island was obviously the thing that put the nail in the pirate movie for about a decade until Pirates of the Caribbean came out. It was that and Roman Polanski's Pirates, which were
It's
both
by the
huge
same-
flops.
It's by the same guy who directed Die Hard 2.
We-
That, you know what? Rennie Harlan has not only directed Gina Davis,
Hmm.
but he's been inside her.
Yeah, in both with the Long Kiss Goodnight. Yeah,
I have the Long Kiss Goodnight on Blu-ray, which is great. But
That's
no,
another good one. That's another
Oh,
good
that's a good
it is a
movie.
good one.
we
Great
should
one.
do let's do a Gina Danish.
Dana. Gina Danish. Oh yeah, no, you could talk about Gina Davis while eating Danishes.
with a British accent.
Mm.
Oh, it's
Anyway,
English.
Oh,
I put it on my
no.
list. I put it on.
Ooh.
I'm putting money where my mouth is, and it's not my money, but it's not my mouth.
Yes.
What you should do is put a Danish in your
Ooh,
mouth.
Yes.
Oh, I know you want me to shut up all the time.
Think of the money we can make.
All right.
Money. Lots of money.
Eating ASMR.
Kat, you're in
Hmm.
charge. I'm going out for another smoke.
You
Okay.
just gotta put cigarette in the
This has
mouth.
been going longer than I thought it was going to, but I'm really happy to see everybody here. Thank you, obviously, to the people in the panel, but thanks to Shooter, thanks to Eugene, thanks to DVB. I keep saying Trip, but that's an affectionate term. Thank you so much to Daniel's Hot Topics for being here. I almost want to send a link to Daniel's Hot Topics at times. Someone talk me out of it. Lemon, it's always a pleasure.
Yes.
Well, we're not
RVN
saying goodbye yet. So we don't have to run.
371. No, I'm not saying goodbye. I'm just giving that. You know what? If I try hard
Oh.
now, when we're ending the stream, I don't have to try as hard if I say hello to everyone now. So I just want to say hello to everybody. And thank you for being here. And my completely genuine affection. I'll be back in a second.
Don't misspell.
By
the way,
Tony, quick question.
Wow.
Cigarette or joint?
A joint.
All right, I'll see you in a second.
There you go. This is gonna
That
be
boy
fun.
has a problem.
Uh,
It must be addressed.
Yes.
Yeah, it is funny that Michael Keaton actually does look the same in the makeup just about
Oh yeah.
36 years later.
It kind of feels like not much had to go to bring it back. It's just, okay, just give us an hour.
Yeah.
Just give us your best face and we will give you the makeup.
Oh, super sticker. Oh, thank you, Eugene Bird, for a $20 super sticker. Nice.
Thank you, Eugene.
Can anybody see?
Now we'll smoke a joint. Now we'll smoke a joint out of celebration.
Celebration.
I like the fact he needs a reason.
He's always celebrating.
Yeah, he is.
Take back the night.
Oh, I thought it was funny that they specified that when Lydia and Astrid go through the emergency exit and end up with the sandworms, that they're on Titan.
Yeah.
That they're actually in space on another moon.
Yeah.
That almost sounds like because Dune is so popular right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's a
yeah.
studio mandate. It's like, hey Tim.
Afterlife is so random.
It's like,
Yes.
hey Tim, you got worms here? We need more of them. Worms are in.
Yeah, and I also like that where they do that callback to it when Wolf Jackson is talking to all the cops that he's about to send off, and they show that he's actually reading from cue cards, telling them, "We'll search high and low all the way to the the sandworms on Titan. This is what you've been training your entire deaths for."
Yeah,
And
so much so that the remake of Police Academy, Commandant Mahoney has worms.
Worms.
Mm.
Worms. Take worms. Earthworms. Bowel worms.
Nope,
Yeah.
I love that. Astrid's dad knew what her Halloween costume was.
Yes, Mary Curie, the person who discovered radiation and died of radiation.
She discovered
Radium.
uranium, but yes, she did.
Uranium,
I
yes,
guess she
radiation,
did
and
discover
died of radiation.
radioactive properties.
Yes,
It's funnier to say that she discovered radiation, though.
I think that's how they say it in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
that's exactly what they do.
But
Yeah,
it's
that was
really
funny.
weird. Radium. They had radium toothpaste that made your teeth glow in the dark,
Oh gosh.
and it was, and people's jaws would drop off.
Sounds like something from Fallout.
Yes.
I was surprised that after they killed Charles, that he's like in the movie quite a lot, even though his entire top half has been bitten off by a shark.
That's good because then you don't know really who he is unless you've seen the beginning of the movie.
Whoever the voice actor wasn't credited, but he did a decent job at sounding like him.
Yeah.
I just thought it was kind of funny that you killed this character off. We could kind of leave it at that, but then they just kept bringing her up and around.
God, yeah, they milked it. They really milked
Yeah,
it.
Dahlia, him and Dahlia do have a reunion at the end that's supposed to be
Yeah.
like they keep having reunions like that are supposed to be heartfelt, but it's just kind of goofy, but it's perfect.
Yeah, and the idea that she recognized him, and it's like, really? And how he can kind of see her, even though he doesn't have like a ghost form, but it's like, oh, okay.
But oh no, he had like an eyeball on one of his shoulders at least.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice the eyeball. I just noticed the trachea spurting blood though.
Yeah. And the was it the top? Yeah, the top of his shoulders just sticking out. But that was, and when he sits down on the couch and you have the surfer there.
Yeah.
And then you have the little jokes. Like if you look closely when Beetlejuice is reading the newspaper, one says, crazy cat lady discovers that humans don't have 9 lives. And you see her in the waiting room having been eaten to death by her cats. And another one says, Undertaker having hard time finding work after death. And then 9 people mislabeled as suicides. Or on the no,
Okay, that was good.
and on the Beetlejuice's blackboard, don't let the phones go dead.
Yeah.
As they're all the Bobs are being forced against their will to work for him.
Yeah.
Which I like that they don't explain how that happened. They're just stuck there as his prisoners, and they don't tell you how he got his head restored to proper size after the end of the first movie when he gets shrunk. I thought it would have been funny if they'd gone full meta on it and had the movie begin with him finally getting his number called. I thought that would have been funny. Kind of like they did with the poster or the end of it. I thought that would have been a nice little nod, but no.
Well, technically, of course, his number was next.
I loved Bob, Brad, and the rest of the shrunken head because those were all practical effects.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. They were animatronic and remote controlled. With
Like, it was
puppeteers
incredible.
and everything.
Yeah, that they did make a concerted effort to maintain visual continuity with the first movie.
But it was so funny. Like without the technical aspect of it and just being an audience member and being taken by it, it was so funny to see like obviously human people who are running in and they're doing like it was almost like watching Muppets. Like classic Muppets or like Mummenschans. It was distinctly with the power of technology or prosthetic or what have you. Like it was stunning when they're running around the town and it wasn't CGI.
Kermit.
It wasn't anything. It was just disconcerting, but it was cute. Yeah. It was so fun. Like this movie, okay. So if I may regale you with a tale of a young Scott ER37, he went to go see Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And up until the point, and shortly after the point that Indiana Jones looked into the face of a mushroom cloud, I was like, this is the best Indiana Jones movie I have ever seen. And then it all fell apart. But this Beetlejuice movie, and without hyperbole, and I'm just like, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie I've ever seen, but like when I went to go see when I see Beetlejuice, and then it's like, okay, we're having a sequel to Beetlejuice. I'm watching it, and I have things that stack up, and they say along the way, this is not, it's getting there. It's getting there. It's almost. And then when we get to MacArthur Park, I'm just like, holy shit, I can't believe it. And because I think that they did it. I think that they actually succeeded in making a Beetlejuice sequel. I think that the Soul Train, no one talks about the Soul Train. Mildly racist. Awesome. And
it's cultural appreciation.
Oh, is that how we're defining it these days, Miss Haversham?
No, this is how I define
it was a popular show. What's wrong with referencing it in that?
There have been criticisms that
he's Canadian.
The only criticisms I've heard of it is some people thought it was like a lame joke.
I love the Soul Train. I think the Soul Train. Anyway, people are going to talk about it. It doesn't matter. It's not my business. But I'm just saying. I think that they made it.
Channels.
I think that I'm listening to the wrong channels. They criticize the wrong things, but I think that they, with the Italian flashback, with the MacArthur Park, I appreciate the idiocracy of Keep It Real. Like, I love everything. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, Shooter says it's a good sequel, not as good as the first, but sequels rarely are. Respect the source material and it's fun.
Yes, I'm with Shooter.
Especially sequels for movies that are a one-movie franchise.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah,
also,
yeah.
you know what? If you wanted to claim racism, the entire football team was black in the original. Is that only
Was
is
it?
that only because black people can play football?
Well,
Obviously.
Don't think they were.
And that, well, who cares? They were dead. But the thing is
Green,
that
were they?
also, like, I am one of the things that I'm happy
I
about is
know.
that they didn't bring
Oh,
back
if they were if
Shake
they were dead, it
Sonora.
could have been a historical thing.
That's true.
No,
They did.
they were all killed in a bus crash.
Yeah.
In the original? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they kept thinking Juno was the coach. They couldn't figure out
Yeah.
when.
Right. They didn't know where they were.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, no, the coach
man.
survived, and now I have to deal with you people. Because Juno couldn't stand it.
Then the one player finally gets it. I don't think we survived that bus crash.
And then they're dancing on the stairwell with Lydia at the end of the movie. You know,
Yeah, they
Yeah,
fade
but
in.
Scotty, people being various colors and ethnicities does not mean something is racist automatically.
yeah, I blame the generation after mine.
You are the generation after mine,
But you're the generation before mine.
which I taught you the racism. I accept.
Anywho, I got a fun fact here. So, just
Get
in case
fun.
anybody wanted to know some numbers, the original Beetlejuice, back when it came out, made $77-ish million worldwide, which by today's standards would be 204 million. This new sequel has made 264 million worldwide, which, if you would adjust it back to $1988, it is almost at $100 million worldwide. It has succeeded in its ability to make more than its original.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, the reverse cat. That's cool.
Not many people do the reverse to compare, but I'm just saying.
True story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But
Well, it
it's
also
well, like, how do you feel? Like, I over at Cinema Gulp, we were talking about legacy sequels, and I think it was in relation to this film. And like, we've had things like Beverly Hills Cop, and like, I don't know, is this a legacy sequel that lives up?
yeah, because it's fun. It obeys the spirit of the first one.
Obeys.
Doesn't have any
That's
callbacks
an
for the
interesting
sake
choice of words, but
it,
I
has,
agree.
it doesn't really have callbacks for it only has a couple of callbacks for the sake of callbacks, but it's solid story. Yeah, it's a bit. I think the reason it's probably so overstuffed is because Burton doesn't want to make another one. Like, he was asked about that, and he's like, let's do the math. The first one was 35 years ago. I'll be over 100, and I'll probably be dead by then. But who knows? Science comes along. But strangely, the interviewer didn't interject to say, well, you don't have to wait that long for it to make another one. But I don't think he wants to make another one.
It kind of sounds like one of those things where the idea came to him, he got inspired, wanted to make it, made it, and it's like, all right, that's it. I got it out of my system.
Yeah.
Well, he did say, like, he's been saying in interviews, that he was sort of taken back to it when he did Wednesday and the introduction to Jenna Ortega, and that sort of, like, it is his wheelhouse. Wednesday is his wheelhouse. And then he was like, I have an idea for Beetlejuice. It makes sense, like the progression. I haven't seen Wednesday. I'm sure I would like it, but I haven't seen it.
Eugene says to Prince of the Netherworld, I must hear you and DJ Play Nice together to learn who has earned the deepest voice award.
Very likely, I always win.
Wouldn't better get.
Ernesto's our contrabasso.
Next time, we will decide where there can be only one.
Oh, can you do a Destro? Can you be Destro?
Destro?
From like Cobra. From Cobra.
G.I. Joe.
I know. I'm turning into Rain Man.
Joe.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
All right.
But
we're gonna need a Baroness.
Yeah, I I only saw half of Wednesday. Didn't finish it. Not because I didn't want to, but I wasn't watching it because I wanted to. I was seeing someone at the time, and then we separated. So I don't want to finish it because I really wasn't watching it for myself. But there is this thing that I didn't like with Wednesday, where it feels like Harry Potter was a thing a few years ago, and they want to take everything and put it in a school.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they want to have different factions, different houses with different themed creatures. And Wednesday belongs to, well, the Goth house, put it that way, from what I remember. So it's one of those things where I'm just like, it feels like this is going to be another trend that isn't exactly catching on, but slowly people want to put everybody in a school and then just try to do Harry Potter again.
Yeah.
Because Wednesday, the whole thing with Wednesday going to school, it's like, okay, we've always wanted to see how she interacts with people who are normal. That's fine. But then you took the abnormal and you put her in a place full of abnormal. So she no longer stands out
Right.
until they put her with her prickly unicorn friend. And then she really stands out.
And then it turns into the odd couple.
Yep, exactly.
Well, it's the same thing
Yeah,
with
but-
Beetlejuice. He sticks out in the real world, but not so much in the neither world.
But I disagree. I disagree on a like putting characters into a school is not necessarily a new thing.
I think Gomez was
Like,
perfectly cast.
Saved by the Bell.
Gomez was exactly like he was in the comic strip.
In the New Yorker?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many people know the Addams is from the New Yorker? They either know, like the modern audience, and it's not a bad word to say the modern audience, only knows at best Raul Julia and Angelica Houston.
Yeah,
John Aston.
Like if they know the black and white, they know it because they've seen the intro, like the theme song on YouTube.
Yeah,
they've never seen the Addams Family from the 60s.
Well, the Raul Julia Adams Family, that's the one that I grew up with. And I do agree that through those movies, I found out about the cartoon show, the old serials and everything. And
hey, sorry, I'm very excited because Kimberly Ann Hart is here. And she says hello to Jill, even though Jill is not here.
But
Kim
surely if
is
anyone got it wrong, it was those two movies, right? It's like no one wants a short Wolverine anymore.
What, you don't like the first? You don't like the Raul Julia?
What I'm saying, I like those movies, but they were the ones that got Gomez wrong, right?
How do you mean wrong?
Well, not wrong.
Well, like they cast him as a dashing Raul Julia rather than the way he was in the comic strip.
Rather than the creep
that is true.
He was in, he was a creep. He was a creep.
He was supposed to be a creep in the original comics, yes.
Yeah.
And then and then through my generation who now has their kids, they pretty much are following suit with the animated movies that came out from Sony, which are design-wise more in line with the original character designs. But I kind of also felt like you got Charlize Theron and you got freaking what's his name? What's Isaac?
What the fuck is that word?
He was he played Apocalypse in the X-Men movies.
Oscar Isaac.
Oh, Dameron.
Isaac. And he would have been great in live action, but he got stuck in a very low budget, low effort adaptation of the show. And then you have the new Netflix series, and casting is great.
Was Oscar Isaac ever Gomez?
Yeah, he was in the animated film.
In the animated one, he voiced it, but he would have been perfect in live action. Just look at him; he would be perfect for Gomez.
Well, I think
No. But if you want to see Oscar
Oh,
Isaac
Hannah.
as Gomez Adams, I recommend you go no farther than Sucker Punch by Zack Snyder, because he's got the pencil mustache and he's a total creeper in a horror movie.
I love that you brought that up, because when I saw Sucker Punch for the first time, I was making comparisons to him and Raul Julia.
Oh,
well, and then the Raul Julia was a takeoff from John Aston from the TV show.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, funny enough, it was because of me looking at the previous iterations of the Addams Family that I discovered the Munsters, and how I always found them both to be pretty much mirror images of each other.
Yeah.
Like the competitors.
I
basically.
grew up watching the Monsters on reruns. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, they came out the same year.
Yeah.
In 62, 63?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But then back to your earlier point, Scott, about, I don't think it's a new trend about putting certain characters in school. I wasn't meaning that, we can't make anything set in a school. I'm just saying that characters who are now just being the setting is a type of school, whether it's boarding school, college, or anything. It's like they're putting them back in an area where it's outside of their element. Like right now, we're going to be getting in November the new adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, and they're going to
saw the trailer.
And they're going to school, and it's pretty much inspired by Harry Potter with different houses, magic, and all that stuff.
It's Wicked, isn't it?
Yeah, Wicked. Yeah, so I'm just saying that this is now like a new trend that I'm noticing, that put everything in school and go from there.
No, but this isn't new.
I'm not saying it as a negative. I'm just noticing that is the thing now. Take a property, put it in school. 15 years ago.
Like that old series, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, didn't get an adaptation until after Harry Potter. And granted, Tim Burton was the one who did it.
This isn't new. And it is concerning at this point. I believe it is a creative certainty is that nothing moves forward. Nothing does. Whether it be Star Wars or it's been so drips and drabs with Star Wars moving forward after Return of the Jedi. It's ridiculous. Going for Star Trek, everything's a fucking prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no moving forward. And I don't know what it is, but they've just decided that we're not going to expand on the thing that you like. We're going to show you the thing that happened before. And it's like, but I already know. At least it's in my imagination. But moving forward?
Well, at least
that
the one
sounds
movie
like Beetlejuice 3.
Yeah, the one movie that's supposed to be moving forward at this point, we don't even know it's still going to be made. They say they are, but
it's all I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just going back to school. And by the way, if you haven't seen it's not called Going Back to School. It's called Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It's got Robert Downey Jr.
Pre-COVID.
So, and a lot of cocaine. But yeah, no, I don't care about going to school. I don't want to see Starfleet Academy. Yeah. I don't want to see the rebel pilots learning.
Actually, let me ask, Kat, the new Alien series, is that supposed to also follow a young cadet squadron?
I don't know anything about it, actually.
Okay, because I know it's called Alien Earth. I just forgot if it's also supposed to be set with young people or younger people, like young space marines, I guess.
Well, I'm 46. I'm going to be 47 in 2025. Everybody's when I watch new shows, everyone's younger than me now because I'm not the target demographic.
Yep.
So when I see young people, I don't get upset about it and be like, oh, they're only showing good looking young people. And it's yeah, no, because I'm not.
I don't think we're talking about how they look.
Well, of course you are. It's entertainment. You want to see good-looking people doing awesome things, especially in an alien movie. So if they're younger people, if it looks like it's fucking Saved by the Bell with aliens, it probably is.
Well, again, it's not that they're young. It's my thing is that if you want to follow a trend, the trend would be let's go back to school and take everything that's happened in school.
Yeah.
Instead of outside in the adult world. See what I mean? Like how much you want to bet a property that has nothing to do with people in an academic setting is going to be reworked to be in an academic setting. Because it's fun that way.
Do you like Starship Troopers?
Yes.
Where does that movie start?
College.
And that's a school.
Yeah, but they're not there all the time.
No, they get out of it and they go and they do stuff with it.
Yeah, but that's not the focus. The school is not the focus.
Well,
it starts
there. You get to introduce a certain level of innocence if you see characters start at school.
30-year-old.
Like one of the things, like look at the first Spider-Man movie. He's in school. And it's fine if you see these people, but as long as they get out of school, don't. And I think what you're saying is that why are we seeing characters that we know that are capable, and then we get to see them back in school, and it's like just get to the good stuff.
Yeah, and I am also aware that in any situation, if it's like a new version, a new iteration for a new audience, and they want to get a younger crowd, yeah, it makes sense to put them in school. I remember, I think it was 10, 15 years ago, there was, I don't know if it was fan art, if it was debunked, or it was an actual in development type of treatment. They wanted to make a animated series set in Gotham High, with every single famous Batman character, including Bruce Wayne, in high school.
Like Muppet Babies.
Yeah, it's like Smallville, but with Batman, and it's animated.
Cat.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the title. Are we still talking about Beetlejuice?
I was waiting for you to get back to Beetlejuice. You got him off.
I thought I'd ask.
Do we have more to say about Beetlejuice? I'm back.
Anybody? Do we have anything? I haven't been paying attention to the chat at all. I've been having such a good time with the panel. Thank you so much. Oh, come on.
Who knew it was a live grenade?
Here. I'm obviously very drunk and high.
Tony, I have a question for you.
Hey.
Do you have a large bounty on your head? I only ask because you have a rather disturbingly still bounty hunter behind you.
I have a Mars bar, but not a bounty.
Are you talking about the Fallout figure?
I don't know. Do I have to make his picture big? Should I make his picture big?
He's got Boba Fett behind him. He's been staring at him.
Make his picture big. I'll make his picture big.
Look at
There's
him.
his picture big.
Oh, that. Oh, Tony. You were asking Tony. I'm somewhere else. Sorry.
Well,
Mark doesn't even know who it is.
All right, then.
The joke.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, that is a big Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's posing.
Do you ever get 3 sheets to the wind and put that thing on?
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I don't know.
He made it.
Don't
Didn't
do
you
it.
make
Don't
it?
do it right now. Don't do it now. I would.
I've got an Inspector Gadget.
I would put it in my Tinder profile. I am just a boy standing at your door asking you to put on some Mandalorian armor.
He's there, yes.
It's cool. It's cool.
In the cupboard.
No, we can figure this out. We can figure this out.
Hides in the cupboard.
I think he's saying that the Inspector Gadget is keeping him safe from the Boba Fett.
I think so, yeah.
Does Inspector Gadget have a beef with Boba Fett?
Now that's a crossover nobody ever thought of.
I know, but I'm interested now. I wonder who would win.
I'm losing track of the conversation.
I am as well. I
Yes,
think we
fine.
should end this before it gets too far off the rails.
We haven't
No,
given our ratings
Uh,
yet for the first two films.
Well,
We
did we
do
did
have
we
to
have
give our
anything more to
ratings.
say about Beetlejuice? Okay.
I only have two more things to say about Beetlejuice, and that is Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice.
I really like the first one, and I thought this one was a pretty good movie because it feels like it's still authentic to the world that it's set in, and had a good story to tell with the central characters, even with some of the overstuffed elements in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think it was a fun amusement park to return to. And
Yeah, the first movie, it's like it's good, but I didn't think the first movie gets really fun until the second half. Whereas this one felt kind of fun all the way through.
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
if I look back on the worst sequels, in my opinion, I would be like, this is better than Weekend at Bernie's 2. This is better than Jaws 2. This is better than
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which is another overly stuffed legacy sequel.
well, yeah, but you're looking at it as legacy sequels. I'm just thinking of sequels.
Piranha 2?
I haven't seen it.
James Cameron's Piranha 2?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's not the worst sequel in the world. If you like the story of the original, you're gonna like the story of the second one.
Yeah.
Is it gonna feel like there is a distance of time between the two? Yes. Does it acknowledge it? Yes. Is it okay? Yes.
Yes.
The only time it's weird, the one weird thing was that they say fuck in a church and they bleep it. But they had said fuck before in a different part of the movie. They bleeped it, but when reading through it, it was like the only reason that they
Yeah, that
bleeped
was
it
weird.
is because it was in a church.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I like that when he I don't know if he kills everybody in the church or whatever it is he does when he turns them all into
Sucks
ghouls,
them into the phones or whatever.
and that doesn't get reversed once he gets defeated.
Fuck them.
They're
They're
done.
just people on the internet.
Yeah.
Kat. We don't need
Oh
them.
my God.
Well, that's just it. It's like because Rory was such a jerk. He's like, I made sure to bring some social media influencers here. Nobody here has less than 5 million followers. This guy's such a prick.
See, don't get too many subs. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but don't get us so liked and subscribed that we get
Are they
sucked into our devices.
Lydia was
ASMR.
right. She did see Beetlejuice in the audience because he's like, yeah. She's like, oh, you have been stalking me. And he's like, well, if trying to get back with the woman I love is considered stalking. And he also knew Rory was an enabler because he even says that when they first drop in to see him in the model. He's like, I'm sensing we have an enabler here, but we'll get to that later.
Yep.
So yeah,
That's true. Y'all did talk about him, right? Yeah, he's a scumbag.
Yeah. We barely talked about him, but yeah, he is a scumbag.
Yeah, it's right. He needed the truth serum to tell the truth.
And they needed to
And
make it
I
even worse by
appreciate
having
the
him give like fruits to kids on Halloween and celery and crap like that to make him even more hateable.
That's the most evil thing that he does the whole movie. Who gives carrots to kids? That is so sad.
What?
Without any ranch dressing.
Oh. Huge fan.
Really? You've never had baby carrots by themselves?
not on
No, I have.
Halloween. You
I'm just saying,
fascist.
on Halloween you have to have sugar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Being
you-
for
that-
carrots, I am.
Yeah.
I like that in the end when Astrid points out that Beetlejuice violated the terms of the contract by bringing Lydia into the afterlife, thus nullifying the contract. Beetlejuice doesn't try and plead saying, hey man, I saved your daughter, you owe me something. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't play that card. He just kind of accepts defeat.
No, it says void all.
Yeah, but he could still say,
Yeah.
okay, the contract is void, but maybe you can give me something for helping you. And she's like, nah, see you later. But that was funny.
Yeah, that really shows how much, I don't know, what does it show about Beetlejuice? He actually has some kind of compassion.
He's a little less
Really
scummy.
weird.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, because that would have been the first thing he would have said when the contract got nullified. It's like, hey man, I saved your kid, you owe me one. But no, he doesn't. He just and funny,
Should've
once
got
that happens,
married
once
in
the
Vegas.
contract's nullified, he doesn't have any power over her to stop her from saying his name anymore either.
Really
Yeah.
does love her.
Yeah.
What you doing, man?
For a second, I thought
Holy
in
shit.
the dream sequence
Jill!
when they go to
I think Jill, anti-derivative Jill. Everyone should subscribe. I think that I just heard the moment where you realized that Beetlejuice was a good man.
Well,
I
and
thought
you know
first-
what? The actress for Lydia thinks so too, because she thought that they should actually get together, and the crew ended up giving her the cake toppers after the film as a keepsake, if that's true from IMDb.
I also thought during the extended like epilogue at the end that when Lydia and Astrid are walking towards Dracula's castle, that the guy in the cape, at first I thought that was supposed to be another ghost, like a cheap ghost as Dracula, until I saw the kids taking pictures with him. I was like, oh, okay. But then that just turned out to be a weird dream sequence.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, the entire like ending before the credits roll, there's no definitive ending.
No, there's not. Because it's like, okay, the baby thing obviously didn't happen, but did Astrid get
It
married?
made my
Oh my
5-year-old
god,
giggle.
that was so awesome.
Yeah, my 5-year-old was in hysterics. She loved that part.
She really? That was like the chest burster of the 2020.
Yeah, I don't know. My kids are fun.
I
Oh,
was
this is funny.
surprised when I saw it. I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe they did that.
Eugene Bird asked, would you be friends with Tim Burton? Me? No. My wife has a crush on him, he says.
I would not be a friend with Tim Burton.
I think I would be a friend of Tim Burton. Why not? He sounds like a really
I
fun
think
guy.
I would be.
Well, I don't know. How good a
Fun at
friend?
parties.
Like, is he still on speaking terms with Helena Bonham Carter?
I don't know. That was a
Well,
long time ago.
I wouldn't want to.
I think they are.
rather be friends with Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh, you're gonna love Bellatrix.
I'm waiting for Bellatrix.
We all love Bellatrix.
Haven't seen her. Haven't met her.
I wish I can.
Oh, DVB says, can we all appreciate how wonderful Catherine O'Hara was in the film? She was absolutely hilarious and stole every scene she was in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We
Yeah,
can all
always.
agree. I
Yeah.
can agree. I can agree.
I like the bit where she's like, when Astrid realizes that the snakes are poisonous, and she's like, yes, and I'm counting on you to get a refund. And then Lydia's like, well, your art's going to go up in value. And he's like, oh, yeah. Or Astrid tells her art's going to go up in value, and she's excited about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think she really tied the family together, kind of like a real grandmother would do in a real family.
Yeah. But also
Yeah.
she wasn't like elderly or anything. She was still fully capable. It wasn't like she was Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Right.
She was still Delia vibrant. And also, again, going back to Charles, it's interesting when you have all the stuff. But Delia is absolutely heartbroken throughout the movie. The reason she dies is because of Charles, because she was honoring his, passing.
By making his headstone in the shape of a shark fin, which ate him.
Yes.
Right.
Husband, father, birdwatcher.
Yeah.
And then she got the snakes for a ritual she wanted to do. That was she thought it was some kind of artwork.
But yeah, that was funny. She's trying to tell Astrid about how in ancient Egypt, if the pharaoh died and the queen was alive, she would go perform a ceremony at the tomb with the asps. And Astrid's like, actually, we learned that asps are actually considered very bad omens and dangerous for pharaohs in the afterlife, and will always be hunting them. And Delia's like, that's why you need to have less reading in schools and more art.
Yeah.
Shooter the emu with a gun. Your father left me. You're getting a divorce? No, he died. That was
Everything, yeah, no. If you're a Beetlejuice fan, watch the fucking Beetlejuice.
All right, so around the
Oh,
horn,
yeah.
how many? I guess we'll call them jack-o'-lanterns for the season. How many jack-o'-lanterns out of 10 do we give the first movie?
Jack-o'-lanterns?
Why not? What should we call them
All
then?
right, jack-o'-lanterns. It's all right.
We've got
Juice
better ones.
boxes.
We'll workshop it later, but for now, jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, jack-o'-lanterns help keep the spirits away.
Yeah.
I hate you guys.
Which is probably why we don't see any in these two movies. How many do you give the first one out of 10? Tony, we'll start with you.
First one, 9
9.
out of 10.
Jill?
First one, oh yeah, 9 also. Definitely.
Phantom Organist?
9 out of 10.
Prince of the Netherworld?
Yeah, no comment.
No comment. Okay, Scotty?
The first Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
As a movie?
Yeah. Well, what
10
else
out
is...
of 10.
Okay, I give it an 8. So now with Beetlejuice, Tony, how many do you give it out of 10?
8.
8. Jill?
Mm-hmm.
8 also. Yeah. Holy crap.
Phantom Organist?
Oh, but I don't know. Did you guys talk about how cool Asher was when she was tearing down whoever was Lydia's boyfriend? I forget his name.
Oh yeah, Roy.
But that was the moment I thought she was the greatest. Just saying. It was a good time.
So what
9 out of 10 for me.
Something about, if you just exploit her and, then that's on her or something like that.
Right.
Go ahead.
So Phantom Organist gives it a 9. Jill gives it an 8. Tony gives it an 8. What do you give it, Scotty?
8.
I also give it an 8. I think I like them both equally in different ways. This one I think is funner than the first one on the whole, but the first one I think has a much better script in terms of a tighter movie with the characters and all of that. But I like both of them. They're really good.
Well, Kat, the reason that I give this a 10 out of 10, the first Beetlejuice a 10 out of 10, is that you were recently you saw Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and you were like, "Oh, I didn't recognize any Tim Burton in that film," and I see Tim Burton in almost a Wes Anderson way.
Yeah.
In Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And then when you get to Beetlejuice, which is, okay, so if you wanted subtlety, this is not the film for you. Beetlejuice is absolutely pure Tim Burton.
If you watch...
Kimberly Hart gives it 36 jack-o'-lanterns.
if you watch
36 jack-o'-lanterns makes sense.
If you watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure and then Big Top Pee-wee side by side, you'll see the Tim Burton in Big Adventure because it's really lacking in Big Top Pee-wee.
But and the only reason I bring it up is just because after that, if you don't see Tim Burton in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, then Beetlejuice is.
Yeah.
This is just like mainline. This is freebase. This is Richard Pryor Tim Burton.
Oh yeah, as a Tim Burton movie, I'd give them 9s. Yes. Like not like a 8 or like an 8.5, maybe not. But like Pee-wee, I gave 3 out of 5 as a movie. As a Tim Burton movie, maybe I give it a 4. It just wasn't for me.
You and your 5.
What? I can't help it. I could admire Paul Rubin's dedication to that role. I just found the first act and his stuff, everything he's doing in the first act, to just be insufferable. And then some of the other gags on the rest of the road trip movie are all right, kind of episodic. But I didn't. You're right. The Large March thing is Tim Burton-esque. That's the only bit that's Tim Burton-esque in the movie to me. The rest of it is kind of like, it wasn't for me. But of course, his first directing gig. But yeah. And actually, he turned down the...
I have childhood nostalgia, so I don't know.
It's so he turned down coming to do this Pee-wee sequel so he could do Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And Danny Elfman revealed in a recent interview that Paul Rubens is actually the one who introduced Tim to Danny. Because of a different obscure film that Danny had scored, and Paul wrote it down and remembered it like 6 years later to say he told Tim, you should get this guy. And that of course is a wonderful.
Well, it'd be Forbidden Zone.
That's right. That's right. So that's cool.
And thus, an everlasting love story began.
Yes, indeed.
So that, I think, is the bottom of the well when it comes to our Beetlejuice discussion. I have things to do that are not very important, but I want to do them.
Of course you do.
So how do we figure this out? How do we get out of here? Does anybody want to? Does anyone want to promote and say that they're a big stuff, and this is what we should watch?
I'm small stuff, but I like to talk about my stuff. Let's start with Tony.
No, let's start with Jill. You're small stuff and you like big stuff.
Yeah, no, I do love big stuff. Well, jeez. Also, on Friday, I'm going to talk about, tomorrow actually, I'm having a shore leave on Tuesday. And normally I talk about For All Mankind on Tuesdays, every Tuesday For All Mankind. But I decided I needed a break. And I get to have shore leave whenever I want. It's my channel, so I'm going to have one. And we're going to just, basically, it's an open topic discussion of current pop culture events and whatever you're watching that you want to talk about.
You're a mod, right? You're a mod on the Fantasmagorium YouTube channel?
This is true, yes. Do you need some help?
Well, yeah, I was wondering if you could post your channel link in the chat.
Oh, yeah, of course. And also Friday, I'm going to talk about Harry Potter, which is a childhood favorite of mine, but it's a thing that Scotty R37 showed interest in discussing. It's something, for whatever reason, for 2 years I've avoided discussing, even though I've been wanting to discuss it. And Scotty's pulling it out of me, and so we're gonna.
I'm trying to be more open-minded. I want to love things that my friends love.
Yeah, that's good too. I mean, it'll expand your horizons, even if you don't like it. It'll be a good experience.
It's going to be better than Lord of the Rings. I tried Lord of the Rings and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, and then, and sometimes I do gaming streams and whatever. And on October 5th, I'm gonna start my Fallout 1.
All right.
Gaming stream, and that's all I got
this
going on
isn't
for
the
now.
shopping channel. You don't have to do you have a promo code?
46898. No, I don't. I should have affiliates.
72355Q our number.
Hey, if anybody wants to sponsor me out there, just let me know.
Yeah, send your money.
Anyway, I'm done.
Okay. Tony, what do you got? What do you got going on, pal?
I'm trying to get 9-year-olds to play Dungeons and Dragons in the library.
No more.
Stop that sentence right now.
Phantom Organist, what are you doing with 9-year-olds?
Absolutely nothing.
That's the best answer.
Unless it's your cat. That's 9 years old.
What is it good for?
I am trying to get a 60th anniversary Goldfinger video going, either for tomorrow or Wednesday.
Yes.
Tomorrow would probably be ideal, because tomorrow is, or probably today, depending on what time zone you're in, September 17th is the 60th anniversary of the world premiere of Goldfinger. Wednesday, the 18th, being the 60th anniversary of the release in the UK, its original release. And we're just setting up. I have potential panelists, and we're just looking for a time. I was surprised, Tony, that you showed up for 7:30 because it's really late over where you are. So much appreciated.
Yeah, it's nearly 6 a.m. here now.
Well, if you're not opposed, we could do the same time slot for tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, we could.
Good.
Waiting to hear from Terry about that. But yeah, that's what Phantasmagorium has that going on. Either one of these next 2 days, and then on Thursday we are going to continue with our Ghouls, Ghosts, and Goblins series with a review of the 1931 Dracula with Bela Lugosi. So be on the lookout for that.
Nice.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see it. I'm a big fan of Twilight, so I want to see Dracula.
Dracula.
Yes,
Twilight is an abomination.
Well, they're
any kind
vampires,
of
aren't they?
vampire. Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, man. I'm gonna go see the original. I'm gonna see the original, and then I'll compare.
Dracula technically isn't the original. That would be Nosferatu from 1922.
Oh.
But Dracula is obviously also very famous. So we'll be.
But then again, Nosferatu was technically a bootleg.
That's true. Bootleg of Dracula. That's why.
Right. It was the GoBot.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that's better than Twilight is Interview with a Vampire. If you want like love with a vampire, like that's better.
I'd rather watch Van Helsing.
I do
would say the book
enjoy.
Interview with a Vampire is a good book. I didn't care for the casting in the movie.
All right. Let's not use up all the good stuff for this coming Thursday
right,
when we review Dracula.
I
I want to thank everyone in the chat. I want to thank Canadian Spider-Man for table dancing. Everyone who's here. Does anyone else have anything else to say? Can we just end this shit?
I have a way. I can end it with a thought if you allow me. The existence of a submarine suggests that a Dom Marine is around.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
It's
Behold my stuff.
Happening. I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
That was a long ass outro, man.
it's
I like that Phantom of the Opera
showtime.
was